You ever dreamt about something that you really, really wanted to do, only to wake up and discover that you're not actually doing it? I wonder, by dreaming about it, are you experiencing it? And if you one day get to do it, have you experienced it twice? This is a Stroll in the Forum, where you listen to me talk about things I want to talk about. Topic of today: what does classics mean to me? What does classics mean to Mr. President? I guess we should start at the very beginning, right? Grade 8, picking courses. Ironically, that's February, and it's February right now. So the grade 8s, if a grade 8 is listening to this, I would be very impressed. This is my experience. Before grade 8, I really enjoyed Percy Jackson. I'm sure many people do. It's quite a popular book series, right? But I think beyond the plot, the characters, the different settings, which are all great things, not things that I like though. I think that the characters are a bit bland sometimes. If you really want good characters in a Percy Jackson thing, Trials of Apollo. They're great. Anyway, I really like mythology. It was very PG-13 mythology, but I liked it nonetheless. And I don't know, that was the interesting thing. I did a few projects on it. I did some research. I learned a few things about Greeks, Romans, all sorts of things. But that was my entrance into this Greco-Romano world. And so when we were given the option to go to MDHS and take Latin, I didn't take that much convincing from my friends before I also took Latin with them. Unfortunately for me, when I came into grade 9, I did not have Latin with any of them, except one other person. And, you know, I don't know, they got to experience the things in semester 1, and I didn't get to experience it. I didn't get to see Latin class, I didn't get to see wherebuzz and tests and whatever else. I didn't see those at the same time as them, but that was okay. It was fine. I got to do junior trivia. I was forced into it, basically. But, you know, opportunity to try out myth and be like, yeah, I know all my myths. Unfortunately for me, being a semester 2 person, I would not be able to pick my topic, and I was given history. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with history. Most of it is because of junior trivia. On the off chance that I didn't do history, I'm sure I would have done something slightly better if I got myth, but I'm sure the people on my team would very much disagree. My work ethic at the time was not the greatest. So anyway, I'm stuck with history. I know nothing about Greek history, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And I read over it, I got the gist of the package and of the 753 BC.
Hey, this is Mr. Editor. I am aware that I said 752 BC, when indeed that is false. It is 753 BC, or 754 BC, depending on whatever suits your fancy.
All the way to 14 AD, when Augustus became emperor, I got that gist. But unfortunately for me, I had not studied enough, and thus I was smoked while my team won. So that was my grade 9 experience, essentially. That wasn't the greatest thing. Yeah, I had fun. Junior trivia was a lot of fun. Lots of cookies. I was on one of the winning teams, so I kept getting all the winnings without, the work. I was that one guy in the group project. But we didn't win junior trivia. I'm sure my teammates will definitely never forgive me for that, because we were this close. We were totally this close to winning. But despite that, I kept going. I did Saturnalia. I had a minor role in Saturnalia. I feel I wasn't as prominent in terms of social status in classics. Not that there is a social hierarchy, but there kind of is, and I was definitely near the bottom. What does classics mean to me? That is how I got introduced to classics. And I think it wasn't, like many grade 9s, you ignite this fire inside you in junior trivia, where you want to learn more and you love the people. All the seniors are great. And I think just wanting to know more about them also pulled me in. But then, it's not until conference where you're really solidified as a classics person. And I think that, if nothing else, in grade 9, classics related, like music was amazing. I really enjoyed music that year. But anything classics, I think the one event that I will definitely pin on me being president, the reason I am president now is because of conference. And I know that sounds disheartening to those that, due to COVID, have not been able to experience conference. And so I'll tell you this. Conference isn't about the event. It's not about competitions, about beating UTS. It's none of that. Conference simply was being with people that shared that passion, that fire from junior trivia, but this time you're on the same team. And, there's a tradition behind everything that we do at conference. Everything has been done before. And, it's slightly reassuring that your legacy will continue as you are a legacy, right? I don't know, like Arctic for me. That was my one event in conference that, I tried hard in. I did pentathlon, I did terribly. I'm pretty sure my fellow grade 9s tried teaching me. Didn't go so well. That's okay. But I think that if I did not experience Arctic, I don't think I would have continued classics. But Arctic was a lot of fun. It was I like calling it the all three event at conference because it's creatives, academics, and athletics. It is creatives because you make the artifacts, which I did not do that year, funnily enough. It is athletics because obviously you dig a hole. It is called Arctic after all. So you dig a hole. That's kind of the main drawback, in my opinion, was that you have to physically work. But there is the old mantra, get buff for classics, so I definitely tried doing that grade 10. Unsuccessfully. We had a large team carry for that one, grade 10 Arctic. And it's academics because of, you have to figure out where the artifacts are, where they're from. It's great. It's a great event, but I think what was amazing was the people and the fact that I had a say. My opinion mattered all of a sudden to all these grade 12s and 11s because I was there saying it's the Praetorian, what's it called? The Castra Praetoria, the Praetorian camp on the Palatine Hill, I think.
Hey, it's Mr. Editor again. I just did a quick Google search. It is, in fact, on the Viminal Hill, not the Palatine Hill. According to this map, and if I can read the map correctly. Unfortunately, I am a history person and we don't read maps. I should probably ask Otto. It's fine.
Something like that. And I was saying that because artifact A has this, artifact B has this, artifact C has this, right? Then conclusion is this. We didn't win. I still think to this day that I was correct. And we went with the right answer. We just didn't place because I guess a lot of other people had pretty good. All the other teams were also pretty good. And Arctic is not that hard of a thing, but there's definitely a tradition about it. I remember grade 10, I was watching the UTS people comment about the maybe Humberside's artifacts, and they're constantly talking about how did you do this, how did you do that, wow, this looks so cool. And I think it's very amicable, and I appreciate that about Arctic, is that in the end, yes, we are competing, but at least we don't hate each other. That's not the same about other things like Pirates A or swimming, but in Arctic we're very amicable. But I digress. What does classics mean to me? I guess classics is basically just everything that I associate with high school now, other than music. If you know anything about me, I am definitely the poster child for this dual classics music relationship. I am one of 2 counselors now that are part of me council exec and classics exec. What does classics mean to me? I should really summarize this better. Okay, let's fast forward. Kurt Hamann. As I say, my first Kurt Hamann and only Kurt Hamann my first and only Kurtamen was probably one of the craziest things I've ever done, because I realized just how hard junior trivia was as compared to Kurtamen. Like, not to dig at Kurtamen, but honestly, the Kurtamen questions were a lot easier than the junior trivia questions about the same things, and it was rather interesting to have to do, to study for that. It's quite the journey. I actually spent like months studying for Kurtamen, only to like blow a lot of the teams out of the water. It's just history. Like, if we're just qualifying history, I did pretty well. Okay, I did really well. I was very proud of myself. And then obviously the Team A guys, they destroyed us. But it's okay, because Markham won. And I find that so funny. We are literally set up just to be second place, and that is a tradition. And sure, you can have a problem against that, but I've seen Team B come on top. The year above me, actually, beat the grade 12 senior team, the grade 11s. The grade 11s beat the grade 12 senior team in the grade 12's last Kurtamen. So they were quite upset about that, the grade 12s were. And the grade 11s tried to retire right after, and they didn't want to do it because that was their high note. It's actually kind of funny. I don't know if I'm allowed to say names yet, so. But I will not say names, but I'm sure if you know, you know. You know who exactly I'm talking about that really tried to retire. What does classics mean to me? Classics... Oh, classics is familia. That is the term I use. I say familia because familia is not just your blood relations. Because obviously, I'm not blood related. Well, not obviously. I could have been blood related to someone in classics, but I am not. I am not a legacy, and I have no siblings to become legacies, so... Or, in the near future, at least. So... Yeah, familia, not blood relations. Familia, in its Roman terms, is like your freedmen, your slaves, and your blood relations, right? It's a lot more than just family. If you know cultures that have this whole aunt-uncle thing, I know there's a lot, where the translation for aunt and uncle in that language means more than just aunt and uncle. For example, in Tagalog, which is my language, tito, tita, means more than just uncle. It also can refer to your neighbor, or it can refer to a family friend, right? It's kind of like that, at least in my head. Familia means that in Latin, but I don't know what the Romans actually thought. Obviously they picked their slaves to be part of their familia, and that's kind of a bad connotation, but I will continue to use this metaphor for like the rest of my life, because that's what classics is to me. It's familia. I'm sure my accent is totally wrong too. But hey, I'm not a Latin rule reader. I am a Greek rule reader. Yeah, so familia, not blood relations, people that I can rely on, people that I trust, people that I spend my days with, trying to improve with them and trying to improve them and trying to be improved by them. It's rather nice. One thing that I really liked was the Class U trip, grade 11. We went to U of T, the Class U club invited us, and we had a slightly sketchy field trip. Sketchy in the form that it was a group of Markham Classics students that so happened to get on the same train to go to Toronto to go to the same event. It was not sanctioned by the school, but we broke no rules. So, yes, it was a coincidence that we were on the train. Totally a coincidence. Anyway, we went. That was quite fun. I have no idea anything about Toronto. I'm gonna be honest. I was vice president at the time, and we were being led by one grade 12 and one grade 9. It is quite funny. But when we got there first we went to the Eden Center to get food. That was quite the experience, trying to get chairs at the Eden Center. It was not... Never try that. Never try that with more than like 4 people. We had some interesting experience at the ROM, trying to find our last member. But when we got to the club, I think that's when I realized that classics is much more than I thought it was, because these people knew what we went through. They're university students, but they went through the classics program at their high school. So they went through conference, they went through Katamin, but they also went through stuff like movie nights, or the Aeneid, or like dealing with the House of Atreus, and the weirdness associated with that I'm never going to touch in my life ever again. Stuff like that. I think seeing that university students could relate to us is quite interesting. And they have this whole thing with literary journal, the Plebeian. They have 6 editions now, I think. I have the 4th and 5th. I read them from time to time. They're kind of high level for me, but I think seeing people come up with their own thesis arguments about things in the ancient world that we're studying about, right? I think that's the whole thing. Like, there's a difference between studying and learning about something and then actually creating conclusions and new theories, right? They're like thesis papers are kind of insane to me when I think about them, because you have to really know your stuff in order to do that. And like, I'm sure I could possibly do something, but not at that level. But the president of Class U was a Markham student, and I think knowing that there is that option, there is that future possibility, it made me love classics even more. Plus, it's great to have so many so many people who, like, you know, I talk to once in a while, or we talk online a lot and don't actually see each other much. Like, we went the entire day. I think it was like 7 a.m. I woke up, and like 9 a.m. I'm on the train. But like, we got home, it was really late. I spent the entire day with these people running around Toronto trying to not get lost. Yeah, Class U trip, man. If I were to summarize my entire classics career in one trip, it would definitely be that one. It's like the ROM trick, but like on steroids, I guess, because you do a lot more. Plus, it wasn't school sanctioned, so you could do a lot more. Like, we took the subway. That was quite fun. I've never taken the subway in Toronto. We took the subway, took the GO train. I think I fell asleep on the GO train, actually. Big oof, but it was a long day. You know, the parameters of this question is kind of hard to answer. What does classics mean to you? It means so much. If I were to summarize it, I'd definitely go with either Familia or the Class U trip, but I think there's a lot much more, yes. There's much more to it than that. So I'm just gonna... Ooh! I think classics really made me appreciate the Music Europe trip a lot more. Like, so many connections that I made. For example, Campus Martius. Seeing the Campus Martius is not the same as reading about it. And like, there's a large field that people like play games on, and they they've had fun. They played games, they did competitions. Like, seeing it is a lot different. Or like, when we went to the Forum of Rome, and like, I knew the history. It was flooded, then they made a sewer, Cloaca Maxima, and they were able to flush it out, and now they have this whole forum to themselves with the 7 hills. And I think going on top of the hills really kicked it for me, because you really see why they picked there, why these villages coalesced to this one place, because it is that magnificent to watch. Just look on the hills across the whole of Rome, or like even the whole of Italy. I'm sure they definitely felt that they could see everything in the world. Clearly they couldn't, but I definitely felt like I saw all of Italy in that one section. There's another part when we saw the Arch of Titus. That was great. Arch of Titus. We sent photos to our marble. You know, if you take year 2, year 3, one of the Latins.
Hey, I'm back, Mr. Editor. Yeah, it is year 2. You may have noticed that I went to Europe in grade 10. Therefore, I could only have done year 2 Latin up to that point. Why is my memory bad?
One of the Latin classes, you get the marble joke, where you get chosen to be the masses of marble person, and you always get to translate that and whatever, and it's genius, and like the who gets to start, who gets to go last, and whoever, it's great. But we found the Archetytus, and so we took pictures and we sent it to our marble person, and they laughed and we laughed, and it was quite enjoyable. I remember I was looking at one of the hills, and all of a sudden it clicked. I've seen this photo before. And I flipped through my digital history textbook, and there it was. The exact shot I was looking at. And that photo, like seeing that photo, but in real life, was one of those cool experiences where I'm like, oh my gosh, I am in Rome. I am in this place that has been the blood, sweat, and tears of my grade 9 and 10 self. I don't know. I hope everyone gets to experience that. I know with COVID, it's probably not possible, but I hope you get to go to Europe. I hope you get to see different things in Europe, because by far the Roman influences on Europe are a lot more than the American and Canadian ones. And so, like Austria definitely had some stuff. There's like Corinthian columns in Slovenia. There's a lot of cool things. That's actually where I got the idea for this, strolling through the forum. Or at least the name, not the idea, but the name, strolling through the forum. Because that's how I felt. Strolling through the forum, like an emperor, maybe Aurelius. Right? Aurelius strolling through the forum, being like, wow, look at this great empire my forefathers have given me. Right? Maybe that's who I am, right? I am simply the steward of the kingdom.
Mr. Editor here. It is not Stewart, it is Steward with a D.
I am just passing along this great classics club to the next person. Maybe that's what classics means to me. Tradition. Classic tradition is crazy. Like, we have so many chants and events, and I wouldn't say it's like rituals, but they're definitely like, what are they called? Coming of age? No. Oh, I forgot what they're called. They're like, you probably know what I'm talking about. They're like times where you go through an event and you're changed. You're completely different. Like when you morph from being a child to an adult. Sort of like that thing. There's definitely a lot of those in classics. I know with your first Kurtamen, definitely is one of those moments. Your first conference is another one of those moments. Once you go through conference, I think you are officially classics. And whether you leave or not, you will still forever be in our hearts classics. Right? If you go to a conference, there's something connective about that. There's also the first exec meeting that you actually are a member of exec for. There's the first movie night where you're not watching the movie. That is another milestone. That's the word. That's another milestone. I remember doing that for the first time, because that's when you're really busy. You have to actually like help people and stuff. Your last barbecue, that is definitely a milestone. I don't even know if I'm gonna get that last barbecue. I still feel bad that they didn't get grad roasts. We were gonna do them, but we just kind of didn't. It's kind of hard to schedule. It's okay. We'll roast them at the same time they roast me. It'll definitely work out. Traditions, milestones. Ooh, chants. Chants are an interesting milestone. Once you start learning the chants, I think you realize that, oh my gosh, why are we this crazy? Like the Mr. McLaren song. The Colors in the Wind or something? I forgot the original.
Okay, this one is just embarrassing. Colors in the Wind is a Disney song. It's from the movie Pocahontas. The song I'm thinking of is called Blowing in the Wind by Bob Dylan. I cannot believe I got that wrong.
Song, but that song that you sing at the end of your first Kurtamen, it's quite an interesting song. I'm not gonna lie. I remember singing it. It was kind of strange. Conclusion. In conclusion, what is my answer to the question? The question being, what does classes mean to you? What is my conclusion? Well, I guess familia, tradition, and classio. One of these are not like the other. Familia, because we are family, but we are not blood. Tradition, because we are a long-standing club in Markham, like by far the biggest, longest club ever. It's quite interesting to think about. We are like that. We are very old. We have a lot of people, a lot of alumni. So tradition, definitely. We also have quite the fun on our trips and conference, and we have a good win streak on all our events. So that's our tradition. We are victors. We are like the Spartans or the Lacedaemoniae. That is us. That is us. That is Markham Classics. We are Spartan. Yeah, Classio. Why Classio? As I explained before, is the highlight of like my classics career. By far, grade 10 is definitely like my favorite year of high school. Quite a lot happened to me then, and I did quite a lot. Yeah, that is my conclusion. This is President Joaquin, Mr. President himself, signing off. Thank you for walking with me and strolling through the forum.